Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a top 10 things that I have been absolutely loving and pinning on my Pinterest account. Last month I did a similar video kind of focused on anything and everything, but mostly I would say fashion. And this month I'm diving into my home board and the things that I have been pinning there. And for anyone who's not following me on Pinterest, I will leave a link to my Pinterest account below so you can see the things that I have just been obsessed with in real time, and I would love to follow you back. So here are some of the kind of top 10 things that have been on my mind for kind of what I'm calling my dream home. Not that where we live now isn't lovely, but I do think that this was kind of a stop on our journey to see if we kind of would fall in love with Florida for our retirement, or South Florida for our retirement. And the short story is we have not fallen in love with this area, but we do love our townhome. We do love that we kind of downsized our life, but I think our next home will probably be a small home and something that is kind of what I'm manifesting on my boards, which I will talk about. So there are 10 things I have on my list and I've got them on my phone. I'm just going to jump right in and get started. So the first thing that I have been loving is what I'm going to call coastal cottage. I have just always been obsessed with coastal living and coastal style for your home, or coastal decor, I guess you would say. I used to get Coastal Living magazine. I have always been someone who really appreciates things, little details like wainscoting and like shiplap, and I love sort of a lot of white in a home, a lot of neutrals with a little bit of blue, hints of blue, things that kind of are reminiscent of being by the beach. And while I don't want to live right on the beach, and my husband and I are not huge beach people, we both really do enjoy living near the coast, but we wish we were a little closer to the mountains, and we like to be able to kind of do both, which is what we had in North Carolina and what we had when we lived up north. And so it's something we would love to get back to, and having 4 seasons is definitely another part of that as well. But yeah, coastal living, everything, I think I hit on everything, but beadboard, wainscoting, shiplap, yeah, all the things that make a coastal home, I am definitely obsessed with. The second thing that I have been pinning are cozy things. So this can be everything from candles to a little kind of window seat to blankets, throw blankets, things that make a home feel cozy. I've always been someone who enjoys this. It's something that is sort of part of my home decor, things that I appreciate. It's always kind of been part of my style as well, to be comfortable and cozy, and anything I can do to make my house a little cozier, I'm always pinning kind of inspirational things on my board as well. The next thing that I have been pinning quite a bit of is what I'm going to call curated closets, and particularly for my wardrobe, you can see I have quite a large walk-in closet that I film in all the time. And when we first moved into this townhome, I have to say I did a really good job moving to Florida without a lot of stuff. I really downsized and decluttered everything that I owned, but then I brought a lot more into my closet because my lifestyle changed so drastically. And now that I have a better feel for kind of what I love and who I am here in Florida, I definitely am kind of right-sizing the things that I have and trying to really curate my, not only my collection of clothing, but giving things like room to breathe. And throughout my home, whether that's clothing, whether that's beauty, whether that's fragrances, things in my kitchen, homeware, all of that, I am really trying to kind of curate my life a bit more. And I have been pinning a lot of pictures of just really organized closets where everything has room to breathe. And while I don't know if I could ever get myself down into really utilizing a capsule wardrobe, I definitely want to reduce the number of things that I own and really curate everything to just the things that I love and use. So that remains a definite sort of part of my goals going forward. The next thing I have been pinning quite a bit on my Pinterest board are wrought iron beds. I have so many pictures of wrought iron beds. I've always been into them. When we used to own a condo in Wilmington, North Carolina, near the beach, we actually had a wrought iron bed in our master bedroom, and we now have a more modern, I would say, wrought iron bed in our master bedroom. It's a four-post, kind of more modern take on it, but just sort of those old-fashioned wrought iron beds, or ones that look a little bit like almost antique, which I'll talk about later as well. I really love things that have sort of that antique, sort of old charm and detail. It's just something I've always found to be really cozy and really chic. The next thing I have been pinning nonstop are standalone tubs, and this is something that will definitely be a deal breaker for our next home purchase. When we moved to Florida, we bought this townhome with a beautiful huge walk-in shower that is just like, there's no doors, you just like literally walk into the shower. It's lovely, it's wonderful, but I really miss having a tub, and there was nowhere to put a tub in this particular townhome we bought, and I thought I could get away without it because we are in Florida, and how often am I going to be wanting to take baths? Yeah, it turns out I really miss having a tub, and I've never really had a tub that was like a really deep soaking tub. I've always had kind of shallow tubs. My second bathroom here has kind of a shallow tub, and you know, it's nice and everything, but it's not really like my favorite. So it's something that I have been pinning quite a bit on my Pinterest board, and definitely something that is a must-have for our next home. The next thing I have been pinning quite a bit are what I'm calling vintage details. So this is everything from like hardware to vintage furniture, cabinets, lighting, things that maybe aren't always vintage, but at least vintage inspired. I would love to bring a little bit of that into my home, even just to have like a really beautiful kind of apothecary cabinet, where in my bathroom I've been pinning a lot of pins that feature that, and that's something I have always wanted and something that remains on sort of my wish list for my future dream home. The next thing on my list is something that I am just starting to do now, which is repurposed candle votives. And I am someone who has just recently really gotten into more high-end luxury candles, and their votives are so beautiful that I really hate getting rid of them or recycling them. So I really want to start utilizing them to kind of hold other things. So I've got tons of like fragrance samples that I could put in them. I've got my makeup brushes and other sort of just makeup and tools and stationery things, all kinds of things that I could use these for. And I definitely don't want to get rid of them anymore. And I want to repurpose them because I think they're beautiful. And it's just such a shame to see them sort of go to waste. The next thing that I have been pinning nonstop are things related to music. And my husband and I are both big music lovers. It was kind of music, discussions about music that brought us together way back when in the first place. And it's something that remains a big part of our lives. And while I don't know that like a whole music room might be necessary, I would still love to have part of our house that's sort of dedicated space for music. So that's everything from my husband's guitar collection to potentially getting a piano one day, since I've always wanted to take piano lessons. Dream I would love to spend a little time on in my retirement years, and even if I just purchase like a secondhand piano, it doesn't have to be fancy, but love to have a piano. And I would also love to have a room dedicated to music. And I'm also obsessed with, and you'll see some pictures here of kind of record players and old school records. And this is kind of a recent thing, since I have a friend who has a record player, and listening to records is something that is just so nostalgic to me. There's something about, you know, we've gotten so into really high quality digital music, but going back to the original of listening to a record, there's something about that sound that is just amazing to me, and I so appreciate it. And even if I just have a small curated collection of records and a really simple basic record player and speaker, that's really all I'm looking for after all those years of my life that I spent on all kinds of I guess consumer electronics to play music through. I'm going back to the OG record players. The next thing that I have been pinning quite a bit on my Pinterest board are books and bookshelves. And while, again, I'm not sure if it's necessary to have a whole room dedicated to reading or to books, I definitely plan on our next home having some type of book organization, bookshelves, maybe a little reading nook somewhere, because I've kind of done the full circle with books as well. It's been something that I used to have a huge collection of books that followed me around from place to place, and when we made the move to Florida, I ended up donating so many of them, and tried to start using my Kindle more and really only keeping coffee table books and things like that. But as time has gone on, I am finding that I really enjoy the feel of reading a book, and I kind of missed it, and so I'm starting to build up my book collection again, and I'm going to need some place to house it. And I feel like as much as I try to declutter things and keep my home sort of clutter free, there are certain areas of my life where if it's something I am passionate about, a curated collection is kind of an okay thing to have, and I'm allowing myself to have those things, and books is definitely one of those things. And last but not least is something that I want to bring into the current home that I have, as well as any future homes, and that is twinkle lights or fairy lights or any type of just really pretty twinkly lights that we can have indoors, we can have them outdoors. There's something about, and I mean warm lighting, not necessarily, I know a lot of the ones that I see are kind of these LED lights that are too bright. That is not what I want. I want something that's cozy, that gives off a really kind of warm vibe. And yeah, it's something that I just appreciate every time I see them. My husband and I actually went to an open house in my community a few weeks ago for a home that this is the second time the home has been on the market, and we've walked through it because the homeowners who live there have really kind of curated this home to fit their lifestyle, and it is, or the original owners, I should say, the owners who are selling it now really haven't changed anything from the first owners, but the house had like all the things I love, all of the built-in bookshelves, and a lot of just wood beams and coastal details and fairy lights outside, like streaming over their pool and inside, and it just had everything. It had a little window seat. It's actually a home that if we were going to stay here longer, we would actually consider buying, because it really is so suited to us as well. And I wish I had known the previous owners, because they seem to have a lot in, or whoever decorated seems to have a lot in common with the things that we love as well. So anyway, in any case, we really enjoyed walking through it again, and it gave me a lot of ideas, both for our current space as well as our future home. So those are 10 of the things that I have been pinning the most on my home board on my Pinterest account. I will share a link to my account down below for anyone who's interested, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon in my next video, and have a great day.